Good morning, everybody. I'll try to make this quick so you can get back to your Christmas shopping. Only 14 shopping days left, so you better get your shit together. If you have kids, I hear that plush Elmos are going cheap this year. The following calls are taken from editions of Mail Call printed in the Herald Mail from November 26th to December 7th, 2012, which can be read online in their entirety at www.herald-mail.com. First up from Nogginsville. What can be done to stop trash trucks from working all night in residential areas? Twice a week we are awakened in the middle of the night by the banging noise of trash trucks and can't get back to sleep. Why is this allowed? If I drove around the village blowing my horn or slamming my car doors in front of people's houses at that hour, I would be arrested. What can be done? Well, you could try hauling your own trash to the landfill instead. How would you like that? Think of what you're complaining about here. While you sleep, people come to your house and take your garbage away. And they do it in the middle of the night, so that when you wake up in the morning and you go to work or go wherever, you don't have to drive around trash trucks. Oh, but it's so loud in the middle of the night, it wakes me up, I can't get back to sleep. Get earplugs. Get a white noise machine. You open the door in the morning and your trash is gone. Where do you think it went? Do you think the trash fairy visited you that night and vanished it in a puff of glittering stardust? No, someone came and took it away. Someone performed a service for you, dipshit. A service that you pay for. It's not the same as you driving around the neighborhood in the middle of the night honking your horn. That is not a service to anybody. That would be you acting like an asshole, which apparently comes naturally to you. As a 15-year resident of Hagerstown, I am completely dismayed at the public's response to the future. When the Washington County Hospital proposed to move from the city to Robinwood, the residents howled, and now it's happening again about the Hagerstown Suns. In the last decade, both instances, residents in both two proposed locations have used their joint muscle to try to restrain future development. Such selfishness. Shame on them for watching out for themselves while denying future development and growth. I hope the new mayor and the city council do the right thing by not bowing to the naysayers, but by boldly leading Hagerstown into this new century. Hagerstown. Yes, it's not looking good at the moment for our hometown minor league baseball team, the Hagerstown Suns. That's these guys. They don't want to keep playing in their old ballpark. The city doesn't want to help them build a new one, so they're probably going to wind up leaving town and moving somewhere else that actually does give a shit about the team. I think it sucks, but not everyone agrees with me. Selfish. Hundreds of elderly and disabled and residents along Summit Avenue are selfish because they don't want 80 to 90 days of absolute horror from the lights and the noise and the crowds and the traffic and their criminals in their lives. That's selfish. It takes gall for somebody to call in and say that they should just put up with it so the rest of us can do what? 300, 400 maybe shows up for a game, indulges in all that nonsense? Hagerstown. I don't know if you've ever been to a town with a new ballpark, but in my experience, the area surrounding the stadium doesn't tend to be a haven for criminals. The town and the team have both made substantial investments in that area, and they try to look after it, at least for a while. But the larger point is this. If people want to revitalize Hagerstown, and from all the bitching and moaning I hear on the subject, people do, eventually something is going to have to be done to make that happen, or it's never going to happen. If it's not a new ballpark, it's going to have to be something. And whatever that something is, there will be people around here who will hold their breaths and pout and cry about it, just like some people are still doing about the new hospital, for Christ's sake. Right now, taking everybody at face value, the city of Hagerstown, both the citizens and their government, have a choice. A new ballpark with a team playing in it, or an old ballpark abandoned when the team left town to play somewhere else. And if you think that choice is a no-brainer, you must not be from around here. May St. Francis of Assisi protect the defenseless against the oncoming slaughter from those hiding in the woods and forests with high-powered weapons who consider this slaughter to be justifiable. May the Herald Mail spare those of us who are sickened by this onslaught against the helpless from being forced to view photos of the carnage. Smithsburg. Let's make this interesting. You pray to St. Francis of Assisi, and I'll pray to St. Eustace, and we'll see which patron saint God likes more. Wait, why would that be interesting? I do not believe people are really against gays and lesbians living together and being able to share their lives. Certainly they want to consider each other next of kin and have all the legal rights of male and female couples. I believe the naysayers are just against calling such a union a marriage, redefining the word marriage as most English-speaking people define it. Marriage between people expects a husband and wife. You can have a marriage of ideas or a marriage of organizations, but a marriage of people requires a man and a woman. Why not call a gay or lesbian couple a legal union? Otherwise, the word marriage does not define anything. South Hagerstown. Calling a gay marriage anything other than marriage is discriminatory. It privileges heterosexual couples. If you provided a valid reason why heterosexual couples deserved to be privileged ahead of homosexual couples, then that would be a different matter. But I'll save you the trouble. You can't. We can call everything marriage, we can call everything civil unions, but you can't assign one name to members of one group and one name to members of a different group. That isn't fair. I think separate but equal is the phrase I'm looking for here. And if you honestly believe that there aren't people who are really against gay couples being treated normally, you are not paying attention. The old church hymn, "The strife is over, the battle done." No, it now says in the American political spectrum, the strife continues, the battle continues. We have re-elected a real winner, wait and see. In other words, we have elected the worst president in American history. And think about it, we did it twice. Hagerstown. Well, yeah, but why bring that up now? That was 8 years ago. Just saw something that's very, very disturbing to me. I live on Garris Shop Road and went down, took a left on Wagaman Road, and people always dump trash right in this one area. Today there was no trash, but there was a carcass of a young deer minus its head. I hope whoever you are, I don't know what your deal is, but what kind of a person kills an animal, doesn't bother to eat it, just wants its head and then leaves the carcass for everybody to see? Hagerstown. Live around here much? Granted, most of the time they don't leave the decapitated body lying there by the road. And I agree with you, it's a disgusting practice, but I've known hunters from this area for as long as I can remember. Some of them are humane, conscientious sportsmen who just happen to enjoy an activity I myself don't enjoy. And some of them, well, let's just say they ain't hunting for the meat. Whoever left that deer carcass lying there alongside the road took the part of it that he wanted. And the rest he dumped there where people usually dump trash, because that's what he thought it was. When Neil Parrott comes up for re-election, I hope that people will take into consideration that time and money that he wasted on petitions aimed at denying rights to individuals such as consenting homosexual couples who seek to do no harm to me as a heterosexual or anybody else for that matter. Time was wasted that could have been spent creating jobs, lowering the deficit, and working to improve the educational system here in Maryland. Hagerstown. This call reminds me, I haven't really gloated over the utter failure of Neil Parrott's ballot initiatives, have I? Well then, let me take a moment here, because as Christopher Hitchens reminded us, one of the true pleasures in life is crowing over the misfortunes of others. Neil Parrott, my Maryland state delegate, and the guy who once endorsed the compulsory tattooing of HIV patients, lest anyone ever forget about that, started 3 petitions that wound up on the ballot this past election day. Petitions that were challenges that would have overturned same-sex marriage, the Maryland version of the DREAM Act, and a new drawn map of state congressional districts. And all 3 of them failed. Failed, Neil! You're a loser! I'm not quite done yet. But before I finish up, here's one last call on the topic at hand. From Williamsport. I am so tired of Leonard Pitts' editorials every other day. I wish David Limbaugh was printed more than once a week. Neil Parrott, please run for president. You do a great job. That's not what the returns on election day said. Unless his job is to be a bigoted, xenophobic Rick Santorum wannabe who tries to impose his warped religious morality on the people of his state and fails because if that's his job, he's pretty goddamn great at it. He's great at his job if his job is to be a prejudiced asshole failure. Oh, no. Neil Parrott. Is it really 2 more years until you're up for re-election? Because I cannot wait to vote against you, dude. Thanks for watching.